Hi guys! So today I'm going to show you how to do this vintage barrel roll with the sides up and pin curls in the back. People ask me all the time how to do it since it is my go-to hairstyle. So here we go. So the things that you are going to need for this hairstyle. You are going to need a curling iron. I just use a 1-inch Conair curling iron. You are going to need pin curl clips. I use these double-pronged pin curl clips. I find that they work a lot better. Since my hair is very thick, I need the extra hold. The ones that just come to a point, the single-pronged ones, I'm not a big fan of them. It's just because they don't hold my hair as well. You are going to need a heat protecting spray. I just used Tresemme heat protecting spray. However, the last time I bought it, the sprayer broke on it. So I poured it into this spray bottle and I found that it works a lot better for me. The spray is just more even. So I've been sticking all the heat protecting spray into this bottle. You are going to need bobby pins that match your hair color. Now, because my hair is very red, they don't really make a bobby pin that matches directly my hair color. So I either use these black ones or I use these brown ones. Just depending on the shade of red that my hair is at the time. Also, where I'm going to be putting them. The brown ones and the black ones, they tend to match. Now, if your hair is platinum blonde, I would say definitely get the blonde bobby pins. If your hair is super dark, make sure that you have super dark ones. You don't want to see them. It's easier to hide them if they're a color that match your hair. You are going to need a teasing brush. I use this Conair teasing brush. It's a thicker bristle, so it makes it easier to tease. You are going to need a styling brush. I use a Denman styling brush. I got this one online. It used to smell like tropical coconut. It no longer smells like that, but the reason that you're going to need it is because it is a vintage styling brush made specifically for styling your hair certain ways. You are going to need hairspray. I've always just used Aquanet. It works the best for me. You are going to need some kind of accessory. I've got these little blue flowers. I'm also going to show you how to use a chiffon scarf. Alright, so now that we've got all our supplies, let's get started. The first thing that we are going to do is we are going to section this front bang portion of our hair where our barrel roll is going to go. So I just like to go from this peak of my hair all the way over to this peak of my hair, and probably about that far back, maybe an inch or two. Nothing crazy back, but you're just going to want to section it so that it kind of glosses over your part where your normal part is, and then is a little bit less than what you would do to pull up the sides of your hair. So if you were to pull this side up, you want all of that to be gone. There we go. So then I'm just going to section this out of the way. I just like to curl it up into a little bun and clip it out of the way. That way we can deal with it later and then it doesn't get caught in our pin curls. Alright, here we go, out of the way. So now we are going to spray the heat protecting spray just all over our hair. Just do a good once over. Make sure that all of your hair is well protected. With red hair especially, you're going to want to make sure that you use heat protecting spray every time you style your hair. The more heat that you put on it, the more your red is going to fade. Alright. Now that we brushed it all through, we're going to start pin curling. Now I always start on this side, and because these sections of my hair are shorter than the back of where the sections are going to be, I tend to do this all in one section, only because if I were to split it in half, it's way smaller than I would want my pin curls to be. So I just deal with a bigger section here. It also tends to help, when we pull up the sides later, it tends to help that lay a little bit better if it's all just one section already. So I'm just going to brush it through to make sure that there are no tangles. And I'm going to pull it up at this angle. Now we're going to put the curling iron in. And you're going to want to pull up and then pull this towards the front of your head so that it doesn't get caught in anything. Now I like to sit it here for a couple seconds and then feed the hair through little by little. This helps to make sure that the entire shaft of hair gets enough heat. It also helps to make sure that you're not frying your ends so that your hair can be all the way heated through. Okay, so now that it's all on there, we're going to let it sit there for a second, and we are going to pull it off of the curling iron. Okay, so now that it's off the curling iron, you're going to want to tuck this little end that sticks out in. and push it back up towards your head so that you can still kind of see through it. And then you are going to stick a pin curl clip right in the middle of that so that it holds like that. Now this is going to allow the curl to cool down in the shape of the curling iron. It also helps it hold better. It'll help it lay in a more vintage fashion. So I'm going to do this side the same way. Again, because this is a shorter section and I don't want to make them too incredibly small and I want them to lay nicely together, I'm just going to take that whole section, not too terribly far back, just the length of what your barrel roll is going to be, and I'm going to brush it out. And we are going to continue and do the exact same thing. So just make sure that you pull this forward so it doesn't get in your way. If you let it hang back, sometimes it falls out of the curling iron and I don't want that to happen. And just feed it through little by little so that the whole shaft of the hair gets the same amount of heat. Just keep going till you get those ends in there. Hold it there for a second. Pull it off the curling iron. Okay, and again, just make sure you tuck those ends in. If you don't tuck them in, then they're going to look a little wonky. Grab a pin curl clip and clip it right in there. Okay, so now we're going to continue that in rows all the way around our head. This second row back is only going to have 2, and then the rest of them are going to have 3. The reason just being that's how much length that you have to deal with and how much hair that you have to deal with. You're going to want the size of your pin curls to remain pretty even. So this is going to be 2 layers. I'm just going to brush it out and pull them apart. And I like to do the whole top layer all at one time and then go down from there. And then just, like I said, make sure that those ends come in. It's okay if they pop out, but you just don't want them to cool down popped out. Now you want to make sure that you keep your curling iron on a setting that your hair can take. So don't put it too terribly high. If your hair is really coarse and it takes a lot of heat for your hair to hold a curl, then just do it as high as it takes for it to normally hold that curl. If your hair is super fine, you're going to want it on a lower heating setting. Mine is on 330. I don't know if you can see that. That just seems to be, if I go any hotter, it just fries my hair out, and if I go any lower, it's not enough heat to hold a curl. Alright, so now we're at the side again, where it's just going to be 2 layers. So this is the bottom layer of the hair. The rest of them in the back, they're going to have 3. And just gauge on your head what size hair that you need to, or how much hair you need to use in order to make it an even curl. I wouldn't go any more than 1.5 inches, and I wouldn't go any less than 1/2 inch. Otherwise, it's just going to be too many. It's harder to control those curls when there's so many of them. And then instead of going all the way around again, I'm just going to do this side again so that it doesn't get stuck in some kind of even or uneven, wonky little area. Now we're going to do a middle layer, and I just like to do that, pull that bottom layer aside so that it doesn't get in my way. And I'm going to split this middle layer into 2 pieces here so that it's an even amount of hair. Okay, and then we're on the final layer. Just make sure that those are even. Here we go. Make sure too that you have all the wispy hairs that are going to be in that bottom part. Depending on how long your hair is, it may take a couple tries. You may have to heat it up and then roll it around your finger. When my hair was shorter, that's what I did. I just had to get it hot with a curling iron, roll it around my finger, and make a smaller curl for it to hold. And pin. Alright, so this is what it looks like in the back. Alright, Okay, so now we are going to do this front part that's going to be our barrel roll. Some people like to pin curl all of their hair and then do the barrel roll after the pin curls have set. I just think it takes exactly the amount of time to do a barrel roll as it takes for my hair to cool down, so why not just do it all at the same time? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to give all of this just a good curl in the direction we want it to go in. Nothing has to be terribly precise, you just want to give it kind of the idea of what it's going to be doing. Again, I use the same technique as I do for my pin curling, where I heat up the top and then feed it through little by little. I just find that it fries your ends less. You're spending less time trying to get the top hot by letting the heat soak through. Okay, we're going to give these just like a second to cool off a little bit up there. You don't want to be messing with curls that are terribly hot. Okay, so now that they're kind of cooled off, we are going to take our teasing comb and we are going to, that one back over there, we are going to start teasing the shenanigans out of this. So, we're going to take really small sections and we're just going to tease from the bottom to the top. Don't worry about being terribly precise. We're just trying to give it a good amount of texture so that the bobby pins have something to hold into. You also want to have a good amount of volume in there too, so that your barrel roll stands up. All the way to the ends. And after every time you do it, just give it a little bit of a spray. It helps the tease hold. Alright, so now that we've got this super awesome poof going on up here, we're going to flip it back over. We're going to give it a good spray, and we are going to start smoothing it out, because clearly this is not how we would like to look. You're just going to want to smooth the top layer of anything that you are going to be able to see. So you're going to want the bulk of the teasing to just remain inside. There we go. Okay. And then I'm just going to take these ends right here and just make sure that they are all going the same direction. They're friends, they like each other. Okay, so now I'm going to take probably about this far down, just because my hair is super long in the front. I don't have short bangs. I'm going to take it and I'm going to wrap it around my finger, just my middle finger. Depending on if you want a bigger roll or a smaller roll, you can use different fingers, and you're just going to hold that with your fingers and just make sure that you tuck all the straight ends that are out, and you're just going to roll it down. You want to tuck all the straight ends so that they're not sticking out. Just make sure it's good and smooth. And then you're going to take a pin and you're going to stick it right in there. Okay, now that should be enough to just kind of hold it in place, but that is definitely not the total number of pins that we're going to use. We're not going to use a crazy amount, but we are going to use a few more than that. Now, I have this cowlick right here, so sometimes it takes a couple of tries for me to smooth it into the roll the way that I want it. Just be patient with it. If you have a cowlick like I do, it just takes a little bit of training. You just got to show it who's boss. Alright, so we're going to grab some more pins. We are just going to keep pinning. Now make sure that when you stick them in there, that you cannot see them. That is a pet peeve of mine. I do not like bobby pins sticking out. They're there, they're supposed to be hidden. Obviously you want them to hold your hair, but nobody wants to see a bobby pin. Alright, so that's 3 pins in, and I feel really solid. So I'm going to leave it. If you feel like you need more pins that day, you need more pins that day. Generally I stick one in the middle, one up through the front, and one up through the back. That seems to be enough. They lock into each other, and if you tease it well enough, your hair's already just going to be in that direction. So I'm going to give it a good spray, and I'm going to do just a really quick once over with my smoothing brush and my hand to make sure it's good and smooth. And then I'm going to spray once in the middle, kind of smooth it out so you don't have any fuzzies going on in there. and the barrel roll is done. Now, that is almost exactly enough time that now all of this is cooled off. If you are going to be out all day, if you are going to some kind of event where you will be dancing and your curls are going to be taking a lot, I would let them sit a lot longer. Go have a snack, do your makeup, do whatever it is that you need to do so that your curls have a good amount of time to set, to chill out. The longer you leave them, the better they're going to stay. But for my purposes today, I'm not really doing anything crazy. I'm just going to a happy hour. So this is enough. I'm going to start pulling out my pin curl clips. Do it very carefully and make sure that you don't snag anything on your way out. If you snag it, your curls aren't going to be as pretty. You're just going to take them out in the reverse order of how you put them in. If you do it in the order that you put them in, which would make sense just for how things cooled off, it's just going to get snaggy and tangly, and your pins are going to get caught in your other hair. There you go. Alright. Alright. So this is what your pin curls are going to look like when you pull them out. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to give them just a light spray. Give them a little texture to hold with. And then we're going to run our fingers through very gently. Now, because I didn't let these sit as long, I'm going to be a lot more gentle with these than I would if I had let them sit my normal amount of time, which is about a half an hour. Okay, so now we're going to take our smoothing brush, and we are just going to smooth this side up. Make sure it's good and smooth. Now, since I did wash my hair today, I am going to give this a little bit of a tease, just so that my bobby pin has something to stick into. I find that the extra texture, it helps. Once you tease the back, you're going to want to smooth over the front again, just to make sure that you don't have any kind of ratty looking hair. And then I give it a good twist so that it sits like this. And I'm going to take my pin and I'm going to take it crimpy side up. Now this is important because once we put it in there, it's going to end up crimpy side down, which is how you want to hold your hair. So crimpy side up, open it up, and you're going to pull it up, flip it over, and stick it in. Now this just makes sure that it is good and hidden. Now I've got this crazy piece of hair going on right here. Let's just stick it back there. And we're going to do another one just for good measure to make sure that they stay. So again, crimpy side up, pull up and over, stick it down. Alright, now that that side's good and done, we're going to do this side. You're just going to do the same thing. You're just going to smooth up, give it a little bit of a tease, spray, and then do a little bit of a smooth, and then twist. Okay, and now you're going to want to make sure that you kind of make sure that these are even as possible. Crimpy side up, push it over and down. One more time. Crimpy side up, push it over. Oop, that's a little tight. Push it over and down. Okay, so now the basic styling of it is done. I'm going to take my Denman styling brush, and this is where it comes in handy. A Denman styling brush does wonders for pin curls. It just doesn't pull on them too much. It doesn't force them to do anything. It's got a little bit of a curve on it right here, and it helps style them a lot better. So I'm just going to take it, and I'm going to do a very gentle brush through of my hair. Now, I like to pull the brush through and then twirl it around my finger to kind of let the curls sit all together. Let's do a brush through, twirl, brush through the back. Okay, now you can take your hands and your brush at the same time and just kind of get them to sit where you want them. There we go. Alright. And just work with them, be patient with them. My hair tends to like this style, so it's a lot easier for me to do it because it kind of already knows what it's doing. Alright, so now that that's all done, this is the back. There you go. And we're just going to give it one good spray so that everything has a little bit on it. You don't want to use too terribly much. The more hairspray that you're going to use, the more your curls are going to be weighed down. Now, because we set them, they've already got a good amount of hold in them. I just want to give them a little extra help. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to accessorize this. There's a couple ways that you can do this. One way that I use a lot is this vintage chiffon scarf. Now, I just fold it with, I fold it into thirds. So I fold one point down, and then I fold the other point up again, and then I'm going to fold that thirds in half. Okay, so then I'm going to stick this under my neck, up over my ears, and I'm going to make a little bow right behind. Now make sure you don't crush your barrel roll when you do this. The reason these vintage chiffon scarves are really good for this is because they fan out well. There we go. There we go. Another way to accessorize is to put flowers. So that's actually what I'm going to go with today. I got these cute little flowers from H&M. I like them a lot. So I'm just going to stick them in. Just on the side, and it offsets this. And there you have it. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you saw, click the little subscribe button. I have more videos coming, and I will see you next time. Bye!